Welcome to this edition of What Did I Miss, where today I will be reviewing the fourth episode of the Genesis season of Star Trek Lower Decks, named Moist Vessel. Before things get too damp, go ahead and leave a like on this video, and if it is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. This episode showed the strained relationship between mother and daughter, as Ensign Mariner and Captain Freeman were forced to work with and against one another to ultimately save the ship. While there were some ridiculous scenes, this episode was probably the most serious of them all, as the crew of the Cerritos were placed in a life and death situation due to a botched towing assignment of an ancient vessel. I will let you know what I think of the episode after I go over all the Easter eggs and references that I was able to find. This is What Did I Miss?
That's more your specialty.
Alright, so this is your spoiler warning for this episode and all things Star Trek. So if you don't want to know anything, do not proceed further until you have watched the episode. In this week's episode, after Ensign Mariner embarrasses Captain Freeman, her mother, in front of another ship's captain, the captain gives Ensign Mariner the worst assignments on the ship, hoping that she will quit. Once it becomes obvious that this will not work, the captain promotes Mariner to lieutenant, which does seem to have the effect on her daughter that the captain intended. But suddenly, the ship is in crisis mode as a fluid that produces life from inanimate objects overruns the ship. Ultimately, the captain and Mariner are able to remove the material from the ship after working together. The episode starts with the crew meeting Captain Durango of the USS Merced, who is a Tellarite. The Tellarites have been shown to be a cantankerous and impatient species in both the original series, Season 2 episode Journey to Babel, as well as the show Enterprise, Season 4 episodes United and The Forge. The B-plot of the episode follows Ensign Tendi as she is trying to assist another crew member named O'Connor reach Ascension, or the leaving of a spirit from the physical realm. This is another common trope in Star Trek, and examples include Kes from Voyager and Captain Sisko from Deep Space Nine. When Tendi is describing an ascension to Ensign Rutherford, he then mentions Q and the Traveler. The Q are an omnipotent race introduced in The Next Generation, and one was most famously played by John DeLance, who just made me cry after a rewatch of Breaking Bad. The Traveler is another being introduced in the first season of Next Generation who could interact with the universe and was very important in the development of Wesley Crusher. The sand mandala that took O'Connor years to make reminded me of the sand pictures that O'Brien drew while he believed he was a prisoner for 25 years, during the Season 4 O'Brien Must Suffer episode named Hard Time. The three assignments Mariner gets are, in order, turbolift lubing, holodeck waste removal, and carbon scrubbing. The first letter of each assignment makes out THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, which is said to have a positive effect on reviewers. And I really think they did this on purpose, because the first time you see the assignments, they are in this order, but after that, they're in a different order. The crews are working with a Generations ship, which is a ship designed to last for long space voyages that would require hundreds of years of space travel, therefore be a ship of multiple generations of a species. This has been shown a few times in Star Trek, most famously in the original series with the ship that was carrying Khan away from Earth and his crew in stasis, but also on Voyager in the Season 7 episode Prophecy, and the Ship of the Dead, which was featured on the first season of Discovery. The Federation is interested in the terraforming technology on the ancient generational ship. This is almost definitely for a few reasons, and they are all not altruistic. On Star Trek, in most cases, terraforming technology, or the technology to create life from lifelessness, has been sought after or used as a weapon of mass destruction. The most infamous case of this is the Genesis device that was featured in both Star Trek II and the technology in 3. Mariner is forced to play executive poker, or poker with the executive staff. This was another activity shown to be popular on the Enterprise in the Next Generation. It's interesting, though, that if you think about it, that the crews of the other ships and shows do not seem to take part in activities with each other as a group, but instead seem to break off into closer friendships. While trying to help O'Connor, Tendi says that she releases Florkas that she says are part of the ascension process for the Temerians. The Temerians were another species introduced in the Next Generation in the critically acclaimed episode titled Darmok. When Boimler gets paged for bridge duty, he mentions Moriarty and that he is on the holodeck. This is yet another reference to Next Generation, as a holographic version of Professor James Moriarty, a villain from Sherlock Holmes, briefly took over the Enterprise in the 6th season episode Ship in a Bottle. Commander Ransom mentions the Iberian Peninsula when he is hitting on another crew member. This is so random that I'm guessing this is a reference to the fact that this is the second largest European peninsula and he is second in command. The actor who voiced O'Connor has experience seeing beings from another realm, as he was voiced by Haley Joel Osment, who famously saw dead people in the 1999 suspense movie The Sixth Sense. I thought that this episode was fairly good, and it actually put the crew in a dire situation that gave the episode a more dangerous tone akin to a usual Star Trek plotline. It was nice to see the relationship between Mariner and her mother, the captain, but I still found some of Mariner's behavior over the top. If this series is supposed to exist in the same timeline as the rest of Starfleet, then there is going to have to be some adherence to the most basic aspects of standard military protocol, and I would think that yawning during a high-ranking meeting would bring about a harsher punishment than demotion. At this point, the humor is so heavy-handed that when it does not hit, it really feels like a foreign object in this universe. I continue to like Boimler more and more each week, and I hope that we get another episode that focuses on him again soon. I would also like to see more interaction with the rest of the bridge crew besides Ransom and Shax, who at this point are getting overused as foil characters. I am surprised that Ensign Tendi has been a B-plot focal point over the first 4 episodes, and at this point, I think we could see a few more scenes where Ensign Rutherford gets to do something more interesting than pine over menial tasks. All in all, I would say that this was probably the 3rd best of the 4 episodes so far. But I hope that the show will be able to track their future stories towards more enjoyable plot lines and character interactions. But you tell me, what did I miss? Let me know in the comments if there's anything I did not catch while going over this episode. Also, the new Batman trailer was just released, and I posted a video on it and put the link in the description. I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?